September 29, 2025, 3:47 p.m. local time. Eastern Caribbean Sea on the bridge of the USCGC Hamilton. The radar screen flares. A new echo. Sharp fast. Not a fishing boat. Bearing 208. Range 27 nautical miles. Speed climbing past 20 knots. The contact grows stronger, pulsing across the display. Steel, not fiberglass. A Guaiquerí-class Venezuelan patrol vessel. No AIS, no radio hail, just diesel engines screaming harder with every minute. The bridge crew leans in. This isn't routine. Not another drug runner chase. Combat Information Center confirms CPA under 10 miles and closing. Tension floods the deck because one thing is clear. This Venezuelan ship isn't drifting. It's hunting. The Combat Information Center pushes the update to the bridge. New contact accelerating. CPA under 4 miles and shrinking through binoculars. The gray silhouette sharpens against the horizon. Twin masts. Forward-mounted 76mm gun. Venezuelan Navy. No mistake. But the angle is worse than that. The patrol ship is sliding between the Hamilton and a small fast skiff. Already on the radar. Classic smuggler profile. The bridge officer calls it out. Voice steady but clipped. Unidentified Venezuelan naval vessel. This is the United States Coast Guard cutter operating in international waters. Alter course immediately. Silence. The same hail goes out in Spanish. Again, nothing. Just the echo growing louder with each sweep of the radar. The Venezuelan ship isn't shadowing. It's cutting across. Throttles wide open. A plume of white foam trails hard off its stern. Inside the CIC, logs scroll across the screen. Bearing change confirmed. Speed 22 knots and climbing. This isn't a coincidence. The Hamilton's captain keeps his eye on the target. Rules of engagement are clear. Warn, show presence, document, then act. But there's a limit to patience. The patrol boat's wake shifts closer, closing the gap, not just on the Hamilton, but on the suspected smuggler dead ahead. Every sailor on the deck can feel it now. The air has that heavy silence, the kind that comes before either diplomacy or disaster. The officer of the deck leans forward to the comms. Mark this as intentional. They're pushing for position. Still no response. No voice over the radio, no lights, no signal flags. Just a warship still on water charging into an intercept lane it has no legal reason to own. And with every second, the Coast Guard's options narrow. Because once the Venezuelan cutter reaches that smuggler, Hamilton's mission changes from interception to confrontation. The captain doesn't wait. Prepare the over-the-horizon team. Launch the Dolphin. Get the RHIB wet. Orders roll through the ship like a charge. On the flight deck, rotors spin up. The MH-65 Dolphin's bright orange fuselage is unmistakable. A Coast Guard workhorse built for speed and eyes in the sky. Its FLIR turret roars to life. Infrared camera warming sensors ready to lock onto anything moving across the waves. Below, the boarding team straps into their rigid hull inflatable boat. Kevlar vests snug, M4 carbine slung, sidearms checked, helmets on, comms green. They're trained for smugglers, but everyone here knows today's opposition isn't just to go fast with cocaine. In the CIC, the display sharpens. The Venezuelan cutter is accelerating. 24 knots now. Turbines straining, closing fast. Its heading slices across the projected intercept of the RHIB. Intentional. The surface watch confirms they're maneuvering to block. The captain's voice is calm and deliberate. Document everything. This stays by the book. Rules of engagement for the Coast Guard are very precise. 1. Warn. 2. Show presence. 3. Record. 4. Intercept the smugglers. Nothing about trading paint with a foreign navy in international waters. The Dolphin lifts from the deck, nose down, climbing to 300 feet. Rotor wash kicks seawater into white spray. Within seconds, it's orbiting wide, feeding live FLIR images to the bridge. On screen, the suspected smuggler is clearly visible. A low-profile speedboat with oversized fuel tanks lashed aft. Classic cartel signature. But between the Hamilton and that target, the Venezuelan cutter now looms, its hull angled like a gate across the sea. From the RHIB, voices crackle over comms. They're crossing us. Repeat. They're on a collision vector. Hamilton throttles back slightly, buying distance but not changing course. The cutter's message is obvious. You're not boarding anyone without going through us. The captain watches the radar return solid and growing. One misstep, and this transforms from law enforcement patrol to an international showdown. For now, every system on board the Hamilton is hot, but silent. Presence, not provocation. The boarding team grips the RHIB's rails. The Dolphin circles above. CIC logs every bearing shift. And the Venezuelan warship keeps pressing, daring the Coast Guard to blink first. Hamilton's engines ease back, but the bow doesn't budge. The cutter keeps its course toward the smuggler, even as the Venezuelan patrol ship throws up a wall of steel and spray. From the air, the Dolphin circles low, just 200 feet above the waves. Its FLIR feed is sharp, pumping real-time imagery into the Hamilton's Combat Information Center. Target vessel confirmed. One go fast with extended fuel bladders. Estimated 4 persons on board, the sensor operator reports. On screen, the smuggler's boat is clear. Long narrow hull, extra tanks. This isn't a fishing run. It's a drug mule running hot towards open shipping lanes. But every approach vector to that boat is now under the shadow of the Venezuelan cutter. The Hamilton's bridge calls out another hail. Venezuelan naval vessel, you are operating unsafely in international waters. Alter course immediately. Silence. Every sailor knows the stakes. This isn't just a drug bust. It's a standoff layered over the mission. In the CIC, the log is relentless. Bearing changes, radar sweeps, engine signatures, every move geotagged and time-stamped. Evidence not just for a courtroom, but for Washington and the United Nations. The Venezuelan ship holds its line, shadowing hard, but the smuggler is still in play, and Hamilton's not letting it go. On the water, in the air, and through the radar scope, the scene is balanced on a knife's edge, one maneuver away from chaos. The smuggler makes its break. Engines scream. The small boat bouncing hard across the swells. Bow pointed east towards the shipping lanes. The Dolphin reacts instantly. From 300 feet up, it banks hard, dropping a warning flare. A bright streak that cuts across the smuggler's bow. Standard Coast Guard procedure. Non-lethal, but impossible to ignore. The go-fast jolts. Crew scrambling. They know the rules of the game are over. With a helicopter above and a cutter closing in, there's nowhere left to run. Hamilton's RHIB roars forward, slamming across wide caps. Spray blinds, but the coxswain doesn't flinch. At 40 knots, the team closes the gap. Rifles down, but ready. U.S. Coast Guard, stop your vessel immediately. The shout carries over loud hailers, English and Spanish. This time it works. The smuggler throttles back. Wake dying off. The men on board raise their hands high. Seconds later, coasties are climbing aboard. Boots hit fiberglass, weapons low. Eyes scanning. The suspects are compliant. Hands above their heads. Eyes wide with the realization that the chase is over. Below deck, it doesn't take long. Wrapped bundles stacked tight, bales of cocaine, plus containers with chemical precursors, fentanyl feedstock. Exactly what Southcom has been tracking for weeks. The boarding officer calls it in. Contraband confirmed, estimated weight over 1 ton. Over 1 ton. The evidence is logged, photographed, sealed every step by the book. But the job isn't done because 3 and 12 nautical miles off the beam, the Venezuelan cutter still lingers, silent, watching. Its silhouette stays locked on radar, shadowing every move the Hamilton makes. Its presence is more than intimidation. It's a message. Back on the RHIB, the team scans the horizon nervously. They've got suspects in custody, but the real pressure is still out there in the form of that gray warship keeping station just close enough to matter. The Hamilton's captain knows it, too. Every second the Venezuelan vessel refuses to break away, the danger of escalation lingers. What should have been a straightforward drug seizure has now turned into something much bigger, and nobody's sure yet how or when it's going to end. 42 minutes pass. The boarding team stays tight on the smuggler, securing evidence and cuffing suspects. The Dolphin circles above its sensor turret locked on both vessels, Smuggler and Shadow. On Hamilton's radar, the Venezuelan cutter refuses to budge. 3 and 12 nautical miles, constant speed, no radio, no lights, no breaking course. Finally, a shift. The gray hole angles slightly starboard. CPA grows. 5 nautical miles, then 6, then 9. The bridge erupts with quiet relief, but no one really relaxes fully. Then, for the first time, The radio crackles, a male voice, Spanish accent heavy. United States vessel, we are on sovereign patrol duty. We observe only. Hamilton's captain answers immediately, calm and clipped. Your maneuvers were unsafe. All transmissions and movement have been recorded. No reply. The Venezuelan ship holds its new course, slowly widening the gap. Within minutes, it fades from visual range. Just a faint return on radar. Now the Dolphin keeps its orbit until the contact is well clear. Then it climbs to 500 feet and heads for recovery. Back on the Hamilton, the captain exhales for the first time in an hour. The smugglers are secured, the evidence is logged, and the potential for disaster averted. This wasn't an isolated event, either. Just weeks earlier, in early September 2025, U.S. Southern Command made headlines with a rare admission. 2 Venezuelan smuggling vessels had been kinetically neutralized in international waters after ignoring repeated warnings. The strikes were carried out under Coast Guard authority, but with Navy intelligence and surveillance backing them up. The move was legal. It was also explosive. Caracas erupted. State media accused Washington of piracy and called for a defense of sovereignty at sea. Almost overnight, Venezuelan patrol activity spiked. Ships that once hugged the coastline now pushed deep into international lanes, sometimes deliberately shadowing U.S. vessels. That's the environment that the Hamilton was sailing into. And here's what makes the U.S. Coast Guard a little bit different. Unlike the Navy, it wears 2 hats. Under Title 10 of U.S. law, it's a military service. Under Title 14, it's also a law enforcement agency. That means a Coast Guard cutter can seize drugs, arrest smugglers, and present evidence in court, while also operating shoulder to shoulder with destroyers and carriers. It's a unique role, and in the Caribbean, it's one of Washington's sharpest tools. For Venezuela, flexing its Guaiquerí-class cutters isn't about winning a fight. It's about pressure. It's about slowing down U.S. patrols, complicating missions, and sending a signal. You're not the only one watching these waters. For the Coast Guard, the job remains the same. Keep drugs off the streets, keep the patrol steady, and never let a single provocation derail the mission. Because the real war here isn't between the warships, it's between the smugglers and the law. What happened that afternoon in the Caribbean is a perfect reminder of how thin that line really is. On paper, Hamilton's mission was simple: intercept a smuggler. In practice, it became a chess match against a foreign Navy ship, both sides maneuvering inches from escalation. That's the Coast Guard's world. So, here's today's question for you. Should the U.S. expand Coast Guard patrols after the September strikes? Or does showing restraint keep the Caribbean safer? Drop your take below in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next encounter at sea. And hey, if you'd like to go a step further and support our channel directly, please join the fleet. You'll get loyalty badges, priority responses, and you'll help us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Just head on over to our channel page and click join and get on board. Because in the Caribbean, every nautical mile has a story. And sometimes that story ends with smugglers in cuffs and a Venezuelan patrol boat left eating Hamilton's wake. I'll see you in the next one.